So Netease live streamed them dismantling the statue. Did I read that right? Oh, shit. Okay, well, let's talk about that first. Let's do some quick WoW news. So Blizzard and Netease could not work out a deal for continuing their services in China, right? Okay, because the way the Chinese state capitalism works is that, you know, foreign companies and companies at home need government permission to even operate, right? In China. And the way most publishers do this is they don't operate themselves in China. They go through like a Chinese publisher, and Tencent, Netease is one of those big publishers. Tencent is another one, and that's what Blizzard's been doing with Netease. This does not affect Diablo 4, as far as I can imagine. As far as I know, sorry. Diablo 4. Or maybe Diablo Immortal. I'm not sure. I guess Diablo Immortal as well. Anyway, so Blizzard announced this before the new year, that they had failed to reach an agreement. And what that means is that basically Chinese servers won't exist anymore for World of Warcraft. And it won't operate in China, which, I mean, that's a blow, right, for Blizzard. It's huge for Blizzard because, and WoW in particular, because WoW is massive in China. It's a huge chunk of their income and everything like that. So you'd have thought, wouldn't you, that Blizz would kind of pull out all the stops to keep operating there. Now, what they have done is they've offered like a kind of a character download, like account save process with an eye to getting kind of permissions back up later on. So if they do come back and operate in China again, Chinese players would be able to, you know, just pick up where they left off, sort of thing. There have been problems with that as well. I want to read about it right now, but my overriding feeling, honestly, is just like, you know, when you're a WoW player, and if you've played WoW for, you know, 15, 20 years, something that you've probably never really thought about seriously is the idea that, like, WoW might just not exist one day. It sounds pathetic, doesn't it? But, like, if they straight up just, like, if Blizz came out and were just like, yo, we have not been able to reach an agreement with the EU, okay, with the continent of Europe, therefore we will no longer be operating in Europe, right? And if, like, my country had laws against me playing on, like, a US server and things like that, if they suddenly just turn around and it's like, look, game's doing fine. It's just you guys aren't allowed to play it anymore. You know, that would be so weird. And like this crazy kind of just, it would be grief, honestly, wouldn't it? It would be grief. It would be loss. It would be sorrow. And you'd be like, well, they can't do that. They can't just decide that I can't play the game anymore, right? No way. You know? And so, like, that's a reality right now for Chinese players who, by the way, in case you'd forgotten, love playing WoW, right? Like, this isn't something that no one cares about. Like, there are many WoW Chinese players, right? And they really fucking love the game. You know, they really love them. And this idea that it's just gone, they can't play it anymore, it's insane. It's like makes me genuinely sad for them. I had no concerns about the normal people of China before today, but now, I'm very concerned. I feel very bad for them now. Rip for our fellow gamers in China. Yeah, it's seriously too. Okay, so following Blizzard's update on the situation in China, which bemoaned their inability to secure a 6-month extension prior to the shutdown of Blizzard game services in China, just talking about that, NetEase has issued a fiery response to the implication that they are at fault for the breakdown of negotiations and tore down their local orc statue live on the stream. Okay, man, like, I think the way business is run in China is kind of fucked up, but kind of an upshot of that fucked upness is that they go really fucking hard Like officials and like CEOs and like managers and stuff in China, they're not afraid to just like have a massive tantrum and be like, yo, what? You said it's our fault? Well, fuck you. Now we're tearing down the entire fucking statue. Now we're gutting the entire offices on a live stream, and we're going to call you dickheads in our official press release. It's like, sometimes shit like that happens over here, but not very often. Yeah, they go so hard. It's nuts. This is their statement. This is what Netease have said. In Chinese, obviously, this is a translation. I think. I'm assuming this is a translation. Anyway, today, Blizzard China published Blizzard on the China region player community update note. Through its official Weibo. Another thing I love about Chinese stuff, nothing happens on Twitter. Nothing happens on Twitch. It's like Weibo. It's like, what? It's like, shit is about to get serious in this statement, just so you know. But also, did you see the thing on Weibo? Chinese companies can definitely be weird. I left one early out of contract, and the owner sent out company-wide email calling me names and shaming me. Some of the news directly pointed to Netease, and because of the content, triggered a lot of market and media criticism. We would like to explain the following. First, about Netease refused the... okay. I can translate this better than the translator. First, regarding Netease refused the 6-month service extension proposed by Blizzard. Explanation. On November the 17th, 2022, Activision Blizzard announced it would suspend the service of Blizzard games distributed by Shanghai Netease in mainland China. Blizzard China issued an updated statement today, stating that during this period, Blizzard has initiated a search for a new partner. For unknowable reasons, last week, Blizzard resought Netease with an offer of a so-called 6-month extension of the game service and other conditions, and made it clear that it would not stop continuing negotiations with other potential partners during the contract extension. As far as we know, Blizzard's negotiations with other companies during the same period were all based on a 3-year contract period, considering the non-reciprocity, unfairness and other conditions attached to the cooperation. Therefore, the parties could not reach an agreement in the end. In our view, Blizzard's proposal, including today's surprise announcement, is brash, unseemly, and commercially illogical. I mean, in fairness, right, it does feel illogical from Blizzard's point of view. You know, however bad they might have thought their deal was with Netease in China, it still accounts for a huge chunk of their profits. And putting that in jeopardy seems cray-cray to me, honestly. It does feel like Blizz maybe overextended themselves on the brinksmanship, maybe, because obviously there's no way they want to stop operating in China, you know? The game is never going to get boring because Metzen is back, right? Yeah, exactly. Sorry. How could I even think that maybe it would? You're right. Absolutely. And, you know, all this shit went down when Metzen went out for a cigarette. So, you know, all of this, like, Blizz got chucked out of China while Metzen was having a cigarette. So, if only he'd been there. Second, the media reported that Netease wants to control the IP statement. We are concerned that some media have received rumors that Netease wants to control Blizzard IP. In the past 14 years of long-term cooperation, Netease has used and licensed any Blizzard IP in accordance with the terms of the contract and has obtained Blizzard's consent and approval. All IP cooperation with other partners is also based on this principle. So, like, you know, obviously, there are changes to the game in China, both in the business model and in the actual content of the game, right? Like, that's, you know. Oh, wait, sorry. I missed the best bit. Okay, go back. Okay. In our view, Blizzard's proposal, including today's surprise announcement, is brash, unseemly, and commercially illogical. Its overconfidence does not take into account where players and Netease have been placed by this kind of demand everything, riding a mule while looking for a horse, and divorce but still try to live together behavior. I mean, I don't completely disagree with them, honestly. Riding a mule while looking for a horse. Awesome. Awesome that they have compared themselves to the mule in this situation as well. I feel like if I was making this statement, I would have phrased it looking for a mule while riding a horse. Because I'm the horse, bitch. Ain't no other horses like me. Anyone else you get is going to be a mule. Right? But in this situation, it's like, whoa, I know I'm a mule, but you could not look for a really lovely, beautiful horse at the same time, could you? Look, I know I'm a mule, but hey, mules are nice. Horses are better than mules, to be honest. That's my point. Yeah, exactly. I feel like Netease, you don't have to be modest. You don't have to like do yourself down like that. You ain't no mule. You can be a beautiful horse as well. Don't worry. You don't have to be a mule. A divorce and still try to live together behavior. Yeah. Riding a horse while looking for a saddle. No, I think that would also be beneficial for the horse and rider. If I was a horse and my rider was riding me but also looking for a saddle, I think that would be fine. And if they were riding me without a saddle, every now and then I'd be like, how's that saddle search coming on? I think we could both benefit from that. No, I don't think that works either. Like I feel like, I like the phrase riding a mule while looking for a horse, but I'd rephrase it the other way around. I'd say riding a horse while looking for a mule. Because I'm the horse. I'm the good one. Right. So yeah, we know that, like blood and bones and stuff, and flesh and stuff like that was turned into, bread and fruit and stuff and foodstuffs in the Chinese version of the client. Whether or not that's still the case, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that Maldraxxus would have happened if that was still the case. I know that skeleton people in Maldraxxus were turned into basic, blob people, and that's fine. But, clearly it's never affected the way Blizz kind of approach making the game, because otherwise they never would have made Maldraxxus. I always thought it was quite funny when people said they tailored the game to the Chinese market, and it was like, really? Explain Maldraxxus. Better than turning sexy women into fruit bowls. I wish I was in China. Third, some tips about the Progress Archives of World of Warcraft game players. Okay, so the Progress Archives is the service that that Blizzard offered to players of Chinese WoW to archive their characters and their account data, so that in the event of Blizzard operating China again in the future, something they're obviously working towards, Chinese players could pick up where they left off, sort of thing. For Blizzard China, in its statement, mentioned about tomorrow, Beijing time 18th, 2023, launch of the World of Warcraft Game Progress Archive feature, we are obliged to remind all players this feature by Blizzard is unilaterally proposed and developed online. Without Netease side testing, use, there may be unknown security risks, especially when Netease fucking, balk it on purpose, right? If this feature causes loss of virtual property or inability to play, Blizzard shall bear full responsibility. Description as above, commitment as follows. When the farewell is destined to become the final chapter of the story, Netease also still hope to do their best to accompany the players through the last time, to serve the players to their last moment. From now on, no matter where you are, no matter where you want to go, may the wind guide your path, may the stars light your way forward. Which actually seems like kind of benevolent. Actually sounds quite chill. So they were pretty chill at the end here. They went for the sappy ending. But then... interestingly, they then streamed themselves taking apart their Blizz offices. Like, all of their Blizz employees have been fired. The Blizz offices have been completely gutted. I mean, they didn't dick around, right? They did not dick around. And a nice advert for Netease coffee right at the very end there. But yeah, they just the huge orc statue. I mean, that's a... Wait. I haven't seen the orc statue. This is a huge axe, right? Tell me the orc wasn't big enough to hold this axe. That's Gorehowl. Yeah, I know. But, like, it says that they took apart the orc statue. And this is Gorehowl. This is not an orc. So you telling me there was an orc statue big enough to hold this axe? Which is like... So wait, was there an orc holding this statue? So weird. Anyway, I don't want to get DMC'd by this music playing in the background, so I'll turn the sound down. Hang on. Yeah, I mean, wow. Wild. And that's what I love. That's what I love about Chinese companies. They don't give a shit, do they? They go so fucking hard. And this is where I'm guessing it was just Gorehowl, right? It's not an orc statue, it's a Gorehowl statue. And it's gone now. Blizzard no longer in Netease. Doesn't look like they're coming back anytime soon, does it? Read the bit about the tea and coffee. Okay, what does it say about the tea coffee? Those who participated in the destruction efforts were rewarded with a brand new drink from Netease's coffee shop, Blizzard Green Tea. While this may seem odd, green tea is a modern Chinese slur referring to a manipulative person who tries to appear wholesome, innocent, or traditional. Holy shit! Netease have turned into, like, that really hard work girl on Facebook who you knew in, like, high school, who, like, all they ever fucking, like, put on Facebook is just, like, it's times like this, you know who your friends are. Some people are so two-faced, you just gotta look out for number one. And you're like, I have no idea what's going on in this Facebook post. I have no desire to know. I hope to God I never fucking find out. And that's what literally every Facebook post they ever make is like a cryptic, one of my friends has really butthurt me kind of like Facebook post. This is what Netease are doing here. It's insane. Passive aggressive? I don't know, man. I think this is like about as passive aggressive as a headbutt. I think like there's nothing passive about this aggressiveness. You know? This is downright aggressive. It's like someone comes up and like kicks you in the nuts and you're like, oh, it's a bit passive aggressive. Someone's burning down your house, you're like, oh yeah, it's a bit passive aggressive, that. You think they might have some feelings about Blizz? Yeah, seriously. Wow. I mean, this is like Netease making a special drink to give to the people who help them dismantle their Gorehowl statue, which is dedicated to referring to a manipulative person who tries to appear wholesome, innocent, traditional. I mean, look, most people just get a Tyler Swift song written about them, right? This is awesome. They go so hard. I love it. This reminds me of that Chinese politician who like basically spends all of his time on Twitter just calling like any kind of American politician who says anything bad about China. He just like slides into their replies like, fuck you, you're ugly and you smell. Who's that Chinese politician? Who's the guy I'm thinking about? He's amazing. Like, he's probably like, he's a high up in the Chinese government, right? So he's probably an evil piece of shit. Let's not muck around, right? My boy Chen, is that who he is? But literally anyone says anything about China in the American government and he is in there like a flash. He's like, yeah, well, you've got a tiny dick though, so fuck you. And I fucked your mum. It's so awesome. Oh, he's state media, not government. Okay. So he probably is like he's probably in fear of his life. And I think that is a part of it, honestly. Like, a part of it comes from the encouragement that, obviously, all Chinese companies, all Chinese state media and stuff could have their living just taken away from them at any time on the whims of the government, right? So, there's a fear element to being aggressively nationalistic and kind of like shitting on Blizzard when your contract runs out with them and being like, take it all apart, rip it all up. That is a way of showing nationalism, right? And it's I'm not even being funny now, like a way that kind of people behave under authoritarian regimes is that they make a big show of nationalism, right? Because it's a way of staying safe. We saw the same thing happen with the Blitzchung thing when Blizzard came out and were like, yo, we're sorry that Blitzkung got banned. We're sorry that like his punishment was way out of order, and you know, we're giving his money back. We shouldn't have taken his money away. Sorry about that. You know, a bullshit sniveling apology, but an apology nonetheless. Blizzard China were like, no, fuck that guy, and like you know, all the Chinese part of the company were like, nope, just so you know, long live China. Like, part of it comes from, I'm sure, like a genuine nationalism, which is a fucking terrible thing to have anyway. Nationalism is very bad. But I think when people are scared of a regime's power to kind of take away your living, and you know, you're always at the whim of that to a certain extent, you know, there is like this tendency to be incredibly aggressive with your nationalism, and that is quite often takes the form of being aggressive towards outside companies and things like that, because it certainly feels like, you know, ain't no way Blizz going back to Netease now, right? Yeah, and people are getting like bolder, you know, as kind of, you know, you can't hold back progress forever. The only way you can hold back progress forever is through, like, you know, not even through fascism. It doesn't work. So eventually, the alternative becomes less and less desirable until they just, you know, they come out and they do fight. Wow. Unless you... No, I take that back. That's not true. Our society proves that's not true. I guess, like, you know, some concessions have to be made to progress so that you can maintain the overall grip, right? Whatever. I feel bad for Chinese WoW players, but this is very entertaining to watch from the outside. Yeah, I feel awful for Chinese WoW players. Like, that is my overriding feeling from this. It's easy to laugh at how in your face Netease are being here. And it is funny, honestly. But the idea that WoW could just be taken away from you, so sad. Like, or just on a whim like that, just because they can't, like, because you can't work out some contracts. Oh, sucks. Sucks so bad. And it doesn't matter whose fault it is, really. Like, is it Netease's fault? Is it Blizzard's fault? It's probably Blizzard's fault, right? You know, sometimes people do just lose their publishing deals. Like, games companies just lose their publishing deals in America, in China, for like no reason. And it's because of, like, you know, deeper, kind of more ridiculous reasons we could ever really understand, right? Like political reasons and stuff like that. So it can just happen. But still, it does sound like Blizz were just trying to, or Activision, I should say, were just trying to get like a better deal, right? Yeah, corporate chicken. But they splattered into each other on this occasion.